Oh, excellent. Alright. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. In the last part, we invited... I'm trying to remember her name. I cannot remember her name. The pickpocket girl. To dinner. She then proceeded to sneak into the pawnbrokery a few doors down. And now she's being accused of murdering the pawnbroker. So, yeah. We've just been given permission to represent her so we can investigate and see what's going on. 16th April, 1:26 p.m., Windy Banks Pawnbrokery. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please? What is it now? You should go... God, right off the bat. You should go home and get some rest. Here you are, Gregsy. Here are the representation papers. Your ladyship! How? I don't believe it! How the devil did you get your... that stubborn little ragabash to sign that? I salute you! That is good work, that is! I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue. Glug, 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 glug. I actually have some tea outside. I might go grab that. Ah, lovely! Well, let's see. Let's see now. Yes, yes! I hardly feel tired at all! I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship! Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime, then? Do as you please! You know where it happened! Through that door behind the counter! Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windybank and Gina. Right, well, I'll be getting back to business then. Will you be investigating it in the storeroom as well, Inspector? If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it. But there are so many articles to go through. It's taking forever, even with the lads working around the clock. What is the problem? Because it's another case and the yard needs to investigate urgently. That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before. So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, Sunshine. Come on then, let us not waste any time. First off, let's investigate thoroughly, but can't find anything out of place. What's this down here? There's something down here. Are you sure about that? Okay. There's the article ledger here, and Mr. Windibank's notes, and... What's this? It looks as though someone left a little photographic print behind. Oh, look on the back! There's some writing! Is there? Show us, Susie! Show us! Did someone pawn a picture of a cat? Jesus. 15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited. One gentleman's overcoat. Let's see. £1. Loan amount paid. £1. Redemption deadline. 15th April, 10:30 p.m. A gentleman's overcoat pawned for £1? Clearly it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think... Yes, this must be the ticket for the overcoat that Jeannie redeemed yesterday. And is still wearing, which belonged to McGilded. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though. It seems Mr. Windibank just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have to hand. But this photograph of a cat, it looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure we've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently. I mean, I thought it was exactly... Yeah, it's right here! Can we, like, turn it? Oh! This is... Yeah, this is the same one. Except this is for the 13th, 9 p.m. One small box, 10 shillings. Yeah! Oh, yes, you're right. Very recently. I'm sorry. It's same as the one Jeannie gave us earlier. Of course. I was forgetting that she gave us that print. She did? I haven't played this since last week. Well, what are we waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out. All right. Let the cogs turn. They're slightly different, like ever so slightly, like not taken at the exact same time. Probably like right after each other. Well, if the one on the counter was used as a redemption ticket... Because the one on the left is looking very slightly off to the side, whereas the one on the right is looking dead at the camera. Perhaps the other photograph that Gina gave us has something written on the back too. Maybe there's something more about it if I, the music has stopped. Look on the back of this print here. There's something written on it. 13th February, 9 p.m. Article deposit, one small box. Loan amount paid, 10 shillings. Redemption deadline, 13th of April, 9 p.m. So this photographic print is a redemption ticket? For an article that was deposited 2 days prior to the incident on the omnibus, it would seem. Yes, a small box. That doesn't tell us much about it, does it? Perhaps it contains some valuable mementos? I don't think mementos is spelled with an E at the end. I can't help wondering. Presumably Mr. McGilded never redeemed the article in question since he still had the ticket. So, isn't it possible that the box is still present somewhere in the shop? Ah, yes! If it's something McGilded deposited, we need to investigate. The white cat photograph information has been updated in the court record. Pawnbroker's ticket. Box. A redemption ticket issued from the pawnbrokery owned by the victim. Mr. Windybank in the form of some handwritten notes on the back of a photograph.
I'm going to the grocery store.
Okay. Hee, I've got it. These two photographs hide an amazing secret. A secret? What does she mean? You must tell us, Iris, at once. Oh, God, I completely lost the voice. I even had it earlier. Hee, do you really want to know? Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. Alright, what do you have? So, Iris, about these two photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Windybank's counter and the one that Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints? I was actually looking to see if there was something else. Actually, that's not quite right. Sorry? If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly. They're not? Have another look at them now. Yeah, the one on the left's looking just slightly off to the side. Can you see that they're just slightly different from each other? I think so. It's very subtle, though. But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints? They were taken... One was probably taken right after the other. Ah, well, it's because they're a set, you see. No, I don't. Oh, you mean like an animation flip book? This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment. Yeah, okay. That was kind of what I was going for. Ah, a stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently? Oh, yes! That's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. That. Stereoscope. Oh, yeah, it like, animates. You spin the thing, and it moves. Ah, yes, of course. That magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch. Hee. Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions. What? Really? Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place? No, I have no idea. Oh, wonderful! Then I'll be able to tell you. She's over the moon. Bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene. I would like to hear it. I, for one, simply have to know. How stereoscopic prints work. Have you ever considered, Runo, how our eyes see depth in the world around us? Well, I just open them and it works. But the reason it works is because we have two eyes. Two eyes. Shocking. If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye and what you see with your right eye are ever so slightly different. Yet get a different view with you get a different view with each eye. Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly. Exactly, and in your head, your brain uses that to shift that shift to estimate depth as it merges the two views into one. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see. My brain really is amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me. I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Isn't that right? Oh, well done, Susie. You're so quick. Actually, Are, are they slightly off to the side? Oh, well, they're not gonna. Let me see side-by-side comparisons now. So if you can persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints? Yes, Runo, you're beginning to understand. And a stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that. Yes, but as long as you have two images, two eyes, and one brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing a stereoscope at all. You can? Really? How to view stereoscopic prints. Let's try it. Let's see if you can view this pair of prints without the help of a stereoscope. Oh yes, I'm dying to have a go. just on the 3DS. Please turn up the slider now. Susato-san really loves this kind of thing. You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. Can you both do that? Yeah. Cross my eyes? I think I can. Watch me. And see if you can copy. Make your eyes do this. What the fuck? What am I looking at here? Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Runo. The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time. Not exactly an easy task when two people are staring at you cross-eyed. Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try looking at the prints. I am actually going to try it. See if it works. Start by staring at one print and slowly crossing your eyes. Okay, I'm actually doing this. You should see two. You know, maybe it's because the game's doing it for me. I legit did cross my eyes there, and I think they're supposed to be like right next to each other. Did the print split into two images for you? Now the next step. Okay, is to put the pair of prints side by side like this, and then fucking autosave, and then try crossing your eyes again. The prints should slowly merge together until they form a new single image in the center. Oh yeah! I'm sorry. I thought that was Ryunosuke. Oh yeah! I'm not even gonna try that, Mr. Naruhodo. It works. I can see in the middle now. I cannot take this seriously enough to say it out loud. I'm gonna try though. It looks so real. Oh, I could look at it all day. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt. Your turn, Runo. Okay, maybe I'm doing so. I legit just tried it and it's not working for me. Pretend you're looking through the two pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Yeah, it's not working. I keep trying it with everything the game's telling me and it's not fucking working. Wait, actually? Yeah, okay, it worked a little bit there. We're going over this demonstration multiple times. Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary. So, what do you think of these stereoscopic prints then, Runo? They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly. No, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like this exist, for people who find it tricky. Oh, I recognize that! We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here. Oh, in the thing. In the corner. I thought the actual thing, never mind. Then set the pair of photographs in this stand, at the back. It's still amazing, even though I'm sorry, that's actually Rinosuke. It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently. But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them. But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case. Stereoscopic pictures. I'd never even heard of them until yesterday. We've certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. It's Ace Attorney! If it's telling us about this and explaining how it works in detail, we're gonna need it. Excuse me. Anything else to talk about? Nope. Okay, moving on. Hello! The police are scouring every inch of this place by the look of it. Instructions from the yard are to examine every article in the shop and every ledger and book of accounts. Every article? But that's ridiculous. A ridiculous amount of work, surely. We've been hard at it ever since the shop was declared a crime scene in the early hours. We're sitting through it in shifts at least, but still. We'll be working through the night, that's for sure, and even then we'll barely have scratched the surface. A crime in a pawnbroker's. It must be every policeman's worst nightmare. It's every copper's worst nightmare, you know? A crime in a pawnbroker's. So, we were right. That's a music box. Do you have them where you come from, Runo? Yes, but I've never seen one as large as this in Japan. Oh, well, this will be a treat. Shall we have a listen? Didn't we listen to this yesterday? What do you think? Isn't it a pretty sound? It's a beautiful sound, yes, but it's a little hard to enjoy when all the policemen in the room are giving you a fierce look. Never mind that. If any of them say anything, I'll tell Gregsy to have a word. Iris Wilson, Superintendent of Scotland Yard. Oh, what's this? These shelves are where the pawnbroker puts articles that they have that have been forfeited on display for customers to buy. Yes, it's a really strange miscellany, isn't it? I mean, who would buy this horse statue, for example? Well, sometimes you can find some real treasures among all the junk, you know? Are you alright, Runo? Oh, it's just, well, it looks like a collection of useless junk as a whole, but when you pick out individual things, you can't help wishing you own them, even that horse statue. That's exactly how the pawnbroker works. They're very clever. Can't talk to this guy, nothing here. Now, we have to look out for like a small box of some kind. We can examine this, the shovels. Huh? That ledger that's open on the counter there is really enormous, isn't it? It must be an awful lot of work to keep track of all these hundreds of items in pawn. It's too much to think about. Better to sell it all and have a clear head if you ask me. Oh, that was Iris talking. But clearly Mr. Winniebank was very careful when it came to the articles in his care. This is that strange contraption that lets you see pictures of things as if they're right in front of your eyes. It makes you think. When Mr. Sholmes gleefully showed it to us yesterday, we were blissfully unaware that any of this was about to happen. Hello! This officer has been staring intently at the wall since before we came in here. Shh! Keep it down! Oh, sorry. There's a major clue just here. Really? Then we must tell Grexy at once! But as soon as I report it, that'll be it! I'll be stuck here even longer. Stuck here? What do you mean? I haven't been home in 2 days already. I need another constable to relieve me and take over my shift. They really have a tough time, the British police. That doesn't stop us investigating, though, does it? No, I suppose not. I'm fairly sure it was the calendar he was peering at. Yeah, and I don't know how I forgot this. It's kind of obvious. Ah, look here. Bullet shot the calendar. Oh yeah. Oh yes, a bullet hole. And I can see the bullet still lodged in the wall. Presumably, Mr. Winniebank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time. Ah, well, Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that. Sorry? It's all there in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris? Ah, did I write something like that? Partly in jest, perhaps. In jest? Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite a dangerous pastime. He doesn't do it often? You shouldn't even do it once! Forget that now, Runo. Let's examine this bullet. Do we? Were ballistic markings a thing back during, I assume, the early 1900s? What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? A suspicious red stain on the calendar. Aha! I may well be able to help with that. What? There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood pumping, is there, Runo? I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold. There you have it, see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types. Yes, what a scientific observation. So you need this. Oh no, what is that scary-looking thing? Hurley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does. Good night, everybody! So that's blood. Oh! The color of the bloodstain has changed! There! Does it make sense now? Yes, I think I'm starting to understand. Good! It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see. Yes! How wonderful! The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is that you're looking at in a flash. Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris! Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Jeannie would say it's bleeding great! So, whose blood are we looking at then? Probably Sholmes. Well, all the chemicals does is turn the blood a different color, so just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to in a flash. It's more like 2 flashes, really, isn't it? 1 flash or 2, this could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So we must make a note of it in the court record. Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio. As long as I have Regent left, sure. Wait, again with this? We just examined it. Green blood. It just seems wrong somehow. Oh, there are all sorts of different colors. There are pretty pinks and purples too, you know. Like I said, everyone's blood is different. I wonder what color my blood would turn out. Actually, I don't want to know. Red. It would turn out red. I'm fairly sure this contraption was here yesterday as well. Here we are, though I'm not confident I can get it closed again. Oh yes, that's a folding stereoscope. Really? This is a stereoscope? Mr. Sholm showed us a picture yesterday that you were supposed to be able to see in 3 dimensions. But for that, he used the great big contraption over there. Ah, well, that's for use in public houses and places like that. It contains a carousel with all sorts of pictures inside. But this little thing is much simpler designed for use at home. There are special shops selling prints you can use them. You can use in them. I have a little collection myself. I wonder if I can make money out of these in Japan. It would be keeping my toilet sparkling clean anyway. Behind that door is the storeroom, isn't it? That's what Greggsy said. Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in that door. Oh, that's something I didn't realize. She was holding the gun. And the door was locked from the inside, wasn't it? Mr. Windybank face down on the floor, with Gina beside him. As the accused's legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make a thorough investigation. Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime. Don't worry, if there are any clues in there, I'll find them. I think we're done investigating in here. I am actually going to take a small break to just like 1 or 2 minutes just to grab my tea. I'm back. Alright. Thank you. "16th April, Windybank's storeroom. They just keep the gun on the floor then. Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely. Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Windybank's life was taken in this very room only last night. Maybe we should send her out of the room. Just let us say her. Ah! Wait! Inspector! What is it now, sunshine? You took one look at me and tried to run away. You think a Scotland Yard inspector would run away from some jumped-up little defense lawyer, do you? Well... I've never seen her ladyship looking like that before, is the thing. I don't know what to say to her. So you weren't running away from me, you were running away from a 10-year-old. I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector. Eh? Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you? Yeah, that didn't work. I don't think that went very well. Why? Look, I'm in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine, and I told you not to get under my feet. And we have investigating to do ourselves. Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say. Oh, Hurley. And inquire into how Mr. Sholm's operation is going. We shall do that after we've investigated the scene a little more. Look at all these articles that have been deposited. The room is stuffed full of them. I can't believe how many there are. A bicycle? A gramophone? Musical instruments? Even some enormous paintings. Look! Pieces of different people's lives quietly gathering dust here together. There's something very peaceful about the atmosphere in here. Or at least there would be, if not for the chalk outline on the floor and the policeman shuffling around. Not much I can do about that, Sunshine. I thought that was the little box they were talking about in the McGilded ticket. Out of all the articles in this storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked. Ah! What is it, Iris? That's the box file that my manuscript was kept in. Oh! Odd. I was convinced Susato had it. Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this... Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you. We must check inside the box. At once! Yes. It's gone, isn't it? It was there! Iris' story was there! Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris? Yes. I mean, of course I believed Hurley when he said he deposited here, but still. It's a relief to actually see it. Really? Because that's not a very well hidden frown. Iris' manuscript has been entered into the court record. Let's take a look at it, actually. I know the obvious gun and blood. Can't find anything. Oh. One little bit up. The Hound of Baskerville. How does Susato-san know the exact title of his unpublished story? I suppose we'll just have to wait until she's ready to explain it to me. I'm so sorry. Can't really read much of it. It wouldn't surprise me if, like, all this text in here was lorem ipsum. Alright, time to investigate the obvious. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line. Yeah, I don't think that's a thing that was... I'm not sure if that's... Was it done at any point in the past? Because I remember hearing that That's a thing they don't actually do, because that's like contaminating the crime scene. Poor Mr. Winniebank. He was a nice old man. Well, he was shot just once through the heart. Most likely, the fellow died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing. This must be his blood, then. Ah! I don't like to ask for such a at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps... Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action! It's blue! So now we know the color the chemical turns when it reacts to Mr. Windybank's blood. And it doesn't match our analysis of the bloodstain we found in the main shop. No, but let's add this sample to the others we've already collected anyway. Blood samples portfolio has been updated in the court record. Oh, we can still examine this. Iris? Don't worry, I'm alright. But we must find the true culprit. Yes, absolutely. Gun! This is a revolver. A real one. And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windybank's life. What's the matter, Susie? You and Runo look like you're about to faint. Well, it's just that I've already seen a gun in the flesh. And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windybank with this yesterday, didn't we? Yeah, and still not entirely sure how to feel about that. It must be the same gun. Not necessarily. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand, and her finger was on the trigger. Wait a minute. Hold on. It's not on the court record yet, so I can't really explain what I saw. And maybe I'm seeing things that aren't there. Mr. Windybank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he? Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun had been fired. So we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. Is it in the court record? It's not in the court record. Why is the gun not in the court record? It's the murder weapon. Why is it not in the court record? The scene of the crime. So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here? Pshaw! You got eyes, haven't you? Use them! It is what it looks like. Nothing more, nothing less. Iris, could you lend me a hand? So, Gregsy, what do you make of the crime scene here? Oh yes, your ladyship. Do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, at shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard police attended the scene. The one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside. So it was locked from the inside. The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing? Quite right, ma'am. Quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in as humbly as possible. Oh. As you can see, the victim was discovered prostrate on the floor, thuswise. And next to the aforementioned body, we discovered the vial got a child. Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector. Miss Estrade, the hapless girl, was curled up on the floor, dead to the world. She's still alive, you know. Yes, when I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious. And I'm afraid to say, she had the gun that was used in that was used in her hand. No! Presumably, it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now. In her pocket, we found the key to the door as well. What? The key... I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. The key to the storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector? Correct. All of which leaves our ladyship friend in something of a sticky situation, I'm afraid. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all some sort of misunderstanding. Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is. Sholmes' operation. Rexy, do you know anything about Hurley? Is the operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he? She did the bounce! Ugh! Okay. It just looks weird when she's sad. It just looks really weird when she's doing the bounce and she's sad. The thing is, don't mince your words, Inspector, please! You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is... No, the operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well... Out with it! Yes, ma'am! They use something called a general anesthetic. It's the latest thing. Renders the whole body insensitive. The whole body I'm sorry. I'm gonna need to sound this out because I'm bad at reading. Anesthetized? I know it's an anesthesia. I don't fucking know anymore. Is that even possible? It means the operation can be completed while the patient is fast asleep. Goodness, in the Empire of Japan, we can just manage to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction. The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing. If you follow my meaning, they couldn't get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for them to gnaw it off, or so I hear. And now that the out's finished, they can't get him to wake up, apparently. Oh my! No one knows if it's the anesthesiac still in the system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyway, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around. Really? The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you. What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way. There's got to be something I haven't examined. Something I've missed. Because I feel like a cutscene or something would have happened by this point. Is that what I think it is? Your ladyship's latest? Yes, my latest story. It's called The Hound of Baskervilles. A most fascinating title, your ladyship. Fascinating. And, I don't suppose... Would there be any mention of my humble self, in this tale, this time? I wish I could talk. Good question. I can't really remember. I see. Well, why would you, your ladyship? I'll just await its publication with eager anticipation. You needn't worry, Inspector. I'm sure if you do appear, you won't be doing anything particularly remarkable. You looking to be arrested, Sunshine? I didn't mean it like that, and even if I did, you wouldn't have bitten her ladyship's head off, would you? Yeah, I got nothing else to present to him. That I think would actually work. My only thought is to go to the hospital. Isn't he supposed to be here? Yeah, I have no idea what to even think now. Oh, cuts. Oh, never mind. I thought I was about to be. Oh, cutscene, good. My guess is that we're supposed to have found the box. The box they were talking about in this one right here. That pawnbroker's ticket. That's the wrong button. All it said was that it was a small box. What am I missing here? Nothing else to talk about. Maybe if I go back here. Does Iris have anything else to say? Nope. I'm very confused. No. Okay, there we go. What's this? Oh, this looks like a telegram. It is, but you mustn't open it. Not under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. We look away for 2 seconds. Now then, let's see. No! What did I just say? You mustn't open it. Don't worry, I won't. With this special concoction I've developed, I'll be able to see through the envelope without having to open it. No! That's not allowed either! Oh, but I'm sure it's something important. Little changes sure can be mischievous. Fish tank. We were rather lucky to find that old aquarium left behind here. The prawns we put there are doing rather well, and the anemones too. Apparently, tanks like those were very popular in London before I was born. Oh, you mean they're not anymore? I think people discovered it was too much effort to clean them out and change the water all the time. I can believe that. Prawns and anemones are fun, but for a while. Do you know, I've never seen the inside of Mrs. Sato's room. I haven't so much as put my head around the door. Oh, Susie often invites me up. It's so much fun. Really? What's her room like? I can't tell you that. Oh. A young maiden's private chambers is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know. Or have I heard that before? I suppose some things are the same, the world over. Yeah, I have a feeling this isn't gonna help. This is all just filler stuff. I'm just going around waiting for a cutscene to activate. Prison. I don't know why I didn't think to come here to activate a cutscene. There we go! 16th of April, local prison, cell 13. Gina doesn't appear to be here. I believe she must be in questioning at the moment. Oh, but wait a minute. What is it, Iris? Well, if you examine the scene here carefully, there's another possibility, isn't there? Is she hiding? Did she escape? Gina could have slipped the key from the jailer when he wasn't looking and escaped. Oh my! Why would she do something like that? It would only make her situation worse. She's a pickpocket! Dude! Dude, do you not... Of course she would do something like this. If she had the opportunity to, of course she would do something like this. Calm down, Runo. I was only joking, of course. Okay, I thought they were serious. Oh. You had me worried there. I thought it was a great deduction. Yes, it must be your way with words, Iris. You're so wonderfully persuasive. Perhaps you don't fully understand the weight of your weight your words carry. Oh dear, I'm sorry. I suppose a little light-hearted great detective is a contradiction in terms. Well, in the same situation, I'm sure Mr. Sholmes would have just thrown his head back and guffawed. I'm not entirely sure that's helpful, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, anyway, it looks like we won't be able to talk to Gina for a while. We should try to make progress with our investigation in the meantime. Come along then, Runo. Come along then, Susie. That accomplished nothing. That accomplished absolutely nothing. What am I missing? Oh, my manuscript. Mr. Sholmes said he deposited it at Windy Banks, and he had. But it's so strange. What is it about this particular story? I worked so hard on it. Why would Hurley say I can't publish it? I'm afraid I have no idea. All you can do is wait until he's ready to tell you, I suppose. Oh, maybe. It's because Hurley isn't in it enough. Maybe I didn't give him enough good lines. Yes, maybe. I wish I could say that definitely isn't the reason, but I can't. Let's take a look at this. Green blood, blue blood. This is the ticket that Gino brought in here yesterday. Yes, having been entrusted to her by Mr. McGildy 2 months earlier. Article deposited one gentleman's overcoat, and the other redemption ticket was in the pocket of that coat. Yes, for a small box deposited 2 days before the omnibus incident. Could that have anything to do with all this? It definitely has something to do with this. Thing is that I can't find it anywhere. What here is there that I haven't examined yet? I want to say it's this. But, like, I can't examine it. The game just says I can't examine it. And everything else here, I've examined, right? Am I missing something? What am I missing? There! 3 golden balls. That's right. That sign shows the shop is a pawnbrokery. A bit like your armband shows you're a defense lawyer. And what's the significance of the 3 golden balls? Does it have some special meaning? I expect Hurley would like to answer that question when he's back from the hospital. You mean you don't know? Took a lot of finagling just to get that. Yeah, there's like no sensitivity. Like, I'm slowly tilting it right now. Even more. And then it just zooms off in the same speed regardless. Here, do you have anything to say about this? No? We don't intend to share sunshine, not with the general public. In that case, Trixie, how about some herbal tea? Glug, 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 glug. Ah, lovely! Thank you very much. That really hit the spot, your ladyship. You don't mind sharing that, then? Wait, no, the other one. The one with the blood on it. Mr. Naruhodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here. The blood? I mean, I noticed it. Well, then again, I probably... If that was it, then I really feel like an idiot. Because, yeah, I noticed it. And what I didn't notice was that no one was talking about it. The red smear, you mean? Yes. It looks like blood, doesn't it? I wondered if Sasana picked up on that. Well, in that case... Yes, we need Iris! Oh, fuck! Duh! We should show this to her before we forget. So can we present it? No, okay. So we're gonna move out to the main shop so we can talk to her. And we're gonna present this to her. Oh, that looks like blood! I would say it's from a gloved finger. Almost certainly a glove made of leather. Well, don't worry, Runo. You can leave the rest to me. Alright, what color is it? Purple! Oh, good! Look at that. Yes, that's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it? We simply must add to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point. Well, this particular stain of blood. Oh, you've had an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood this is? I have no idea. But the game wants an answer, so I'm thinking about this critically. I'm confident the green blood is Sholm's. Gina wasn't wearing gloves. Nor did she have any wounds. This is the only one that's left. Yeah! Okay, I completely forgot! Yeah! In the beginning of this case! Yeah! Yes, I have an idea whose blood it is. Not from the color it turned, but with a little deduction. That's right! I think it's clever. I think it's clear. Iris, you know as well? You first, Runo. Who do you think it belongs to? Alright, I believe that this is the blood of... Never mind! Okay, Magnus McGilded? Mr. McGilded? Yes, after all, this redemption ticket belonged to him. Oh, you don't think... You mean that during the incident on the omnibus? Okay, I'm an idiot! Yes, I expect so. It's a very clear print and no small amount of blood. So it must have resulted from a fairly serious accident, such as he might have sustained on the omnibus. Wait, but... If I remember rightly, no sign of injury was found in Mr. McGilded at all, aside from those bloodstains. Aside from the, well, never mind. We're trying to work out who the blood came from. So the only other thing I can think of is thrice fired Mason. Okay, second try. Thrice fired Mason. You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there. Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course I'd never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice fired, though. The victim of the omnibus case? Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice Fired Mason. Let me take another look at this. But that would mean that this blood stain was left on the ticket 2 months ago. Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Windibanks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the blood stain was already on it at that time. So it's a smear of blood from the time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago. Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night. Now I ask you, see, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. It certainly does look like a leather-gloved thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGillard had no injuries at the time, anywhere on his body. From which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason. Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes. Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope. Yes, I think you're right, Runo. Very well. Let's make a note of this. The details of the pawnbroker's ticket for the overcoat have been updated in the court record. Still no cutscene. Let's go back into the storeroom. You got anything for us, Gregsy? No? Anything more to examine? Let's try the hospital now. The prison? Okay, for a second I thought the music was a little different. Fuck it, his office? Baker Street? What am I missing here? Just present everything to everyone, I guess. Until we find something. Poor Jeannie. This is all my fault, really. But she'll be alright, won't she? In court tomorrow, I mean. I'll defend her with everything I've got. So, she'll be alright, won't she? Am I that bad at instilling confidence? Would you mind if I show you this, Iris? It's just a boring old thing, really, but... Oh, I don't really like boring things. Ah. Looks like Japanese modesty is easily misinterpreted by young Western children. I mean, who does like boring things? No one wants to be shown something boring. Come to think of it, you're always introducing things with, this is boring, but it's a bad habit. You should stop it. I'll be sure to let the entire population of the Empire of Japan know on my return. Wrong thing. Would you mind if I showed you the... Move. Oh, what do you make of this? Ah, what have we here then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of the office station area and wrote the ticket on whatever paper was to hand. Yes, this is the ticket for Mr. McGill's overcoat. The one that the little diver turned up with yesterday. Oh God. Oh, actually, no, it's not. Really? Think you know better than me, do you? No, I didn't mean to, Bruno's right, Greg, see, it isn't the same ticket. Of course it isn't, I never doubted you, your ladyship. So, what's all this about then, if I might be so bold as to ask? This is a second ticket. A second one? It seems that Mr. McGill did in fact had another article in storage here at Windy Banks. Is that right? I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo. There we go! Inspect everything to everyone. I mean, present everything to everyone. There we go, the second redemption ticket. This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilda's overcoat. Eh? You mean to tell me? Yes, there was more than just the music box disc, it seems. I should have insisted on the lads taking it back to the yard and examining it properly. Well, according to the details on the ticket, Mr. McGilda deposited another article here with Mr. Windibank. Yes, I can see it written here. A small box, was it? There's a lot of small boxes here, though. Do you have any idea where it is, Gracie? Any idea at all? It's another article belonging to Mr. McGilded. It could be an important clue. Well, yes, I suppose it could be. Please, stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes, all full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose me marbles, I will. I'll go barking. This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. That's enough sauce for you, sunshine. There is one thing that springs to mind. According to this ticket, the redemption deadline's already passed, hasn't it? Yeah, but the person it's to is dead. So, logically, it should be out in the shop. Oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months. So the small box will no longer be here then. That's right. It's been forfeited. Which means it could be on the shelves in front of the shop where the forfeited items are offered for sale. Yeah, I thought the exact same thing. And it's just going to show up out in the main room, isn't it? Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once. You're wasting your time. Oh? There are dozens of little boxes out there. Hundreds even. We can't possibly know which one might have been Mr. McGilded's. That information is not written in the ledger. Well, I think we should at least have a look, just in case. Of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure. This is getting old. Cutscene! What? I nearly jumped out of my skin there. How could Mr. Windibank set such a wicked trap? I doubt he set it out to scare anyone. Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon. Now we can go see her. Oh? Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind. Don't you remember, Runo? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want to be, if she didn't want you to be her lawyer. Really? Did I say that? Yes, you did. The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching. In that case, we had better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. Before we do that, did the box magically appear? Yes, this is where all the items that have been forfeited by their original owners are offered for sale. That's right, they've all got little price labels on them, but there are so many. I wonder if the small box this ticket was for is still on the shelf somewhere. The box that McGilda deposited here just over 2 months ago. Even if it were, finding it promises to be very troublesome indeed. There are so many boxes, it could be any of them. Mr. Sholmes said that a pawnbroker's was the safest place to store anything, more secure than a bank's vault. So perhaps this small box of Mr. McGilda's contains something of very great value. Well, if that's the case, he'd probably have kept it locked. So then, we need to find every box with a lock and break them all open. Hiya! Oh, that was Susato. That sort of misconduct would get you arrested. I won't let that happen. This takes me back. It's been some time since Susato-san last threw me. Could we maybe check the ledger? We cannot check the ledger. Alright, to the prison! Ah! I was slumping down on my chair and then I corrected myself and now my ass is just like, oh, why did you move me suddenly? Hey, Gina. Ah, Gina, good. You're back. Ah! I got the voice perfect in this stream. And I think I've already forgotten it. The police must have finished questioning her then. Oh, how was it, Jeannie? Was it awful? Oh, don't bother me! Thank you for the papers you signed before. It meant we were able to investigate at Windybanks. Oh, right. I screwed up the voice again. I'm sorry. Fuck. Do you want to know how we got on? We've been ever so busy. What's the point in asking? Won't change what everyone's saying that I did it. That's not. Gina, we came to ask you for your final decision. What decision? About tomorrow's trial. Will you let me defend you or not? I must submit the paperwork now if you'd like Mr. Naruhodo to represent you. Right, I see. She's really lost her fight all of a sudden. But I know what that feels like. The worry is just so hard to bear. What we've uncovered. Oh, alright then! Blimey! Give it a rest with them eyes, Iris! So come on then, fill us in. Who done it? Unfortunately, we don't know that yet. You don't say. We don't know yet, Gina. But Mr. Naruhodo and all of us know that you are innocent of this crime. And while we haven't managed to work out who the real culprit is, there are a number of interesting facts that we have managed to establish. Oh yeah? Like what? Well, for example, the reason for you being there in the first place. I think I know why you broke into Windybanks that night. It looks like I'm going to have to take some evidence that clearly reveals the reason and thrust it in Gina's face. Or I could present it to her calmly, I suppose. I like the idea of just thrusting it in her face first. We found this in Mr. Windybank's storeroom. The manuscript of Iris's latest story. Ah! Oh, right! Well, that's good then. Curiously, the storeroom at Windibank showed no signs of being ransacked for items of value or the like. With one exception. The book file that housed this manuscript. It was you, wasn't it, Gina, who broke open the box containing the manuscript last night. But how would she know? Eh? You were determined to find out whether or not the Hound of Baskervilles was really there. That's the real reason you broke into the storeroom last night, isn't it? Ah! Why don't you tell us what happened, please? We already have the representation papers and other documents we need. All we have to do is hand them to the court clerk. That is, if you'll allow me to represent you in court tomorrow. Nah, don't bother. Genie, rip them up and chuck them, would ya? Them representation papers or whatever they're called. This cell ain't fancy enough to have a bin. So, what will you do in court tomorrow? I'll be fine on me own. I don't think you will be. Look, it don't matter. What's gonna happen is gonna happen. This is one stubborn pickpocket. Iris's manuscript. Alright, yeah. This Baskerville story, it's the latest Sholmes adventure, right? But it ain't been printed yet. So I figured it's gotta be worth a fair few pieces of silver, right? Oh yes, at least 5,000 pounds. What? So, you intended to sell Iris's manuscript, did you? No, Genie, how could you? What? Wait! No! Hang on! Of course I weren't gonna sell it! All I wanted to do was find out if the manuscript or whatever y'all call it really was there or not. That's the only reason I was in the place. For Iris's sake. Isn't that right? Ah! We knew why you'd done it from the start, Gina. Of course we did. But I knew you wouldn't do anything mean like that, Genie. I just knew it. Well, when I saw the manuscript in the storeroom, it reminded me of what you'd said the night before. Grabs do a lot worse than that, believe me. Bare-faced lawyers, a lot of them. You just ain't realized it yet. I'm telling you, that manuscript ain't at Windibanks. You'd soon seen if you had a look. If I'm honest, I have wondered if Hurley is telling me the truth sometimes. I mean that I sometimes wonder if he might have hidden my manuscript somewhere I don't know, even though it's wrong of me to doubt him. Oh, Genie, that was so sweet of you. Alright, alright. I'll tell you why I did it. Just stop looking at me like that, Iris. Didn't we just... It wasn't because of Iris. That's not why I did it. I just wanted to know the truth, that's all. You wanted to know if Mr. Sholmes was being honest. If he'd really deposited the manuscript at Windibanks? It's like I told you the night before. I never had a father. But Iris's lot ain't like mine. She's got her dad, only she can't see him. And I reckon that's gotta be odder. That's why she writes her stories. They're about her dad, really. That's what it sounded like to me, anyway. Last night, when I was listening to what you were saying. Stories about Daddy? You mean, they're not the adventures of a great detective, so much as the adventures of a great detective and his trusty partner? Well, that's how I see it, yeah. You're so thoughtful and so kind, Genie. Yes, and we never thought any differently, did we? Look! Give it a rest, will ya? I ain't all this chummy nonsense. I'm sorry. I ain't all this chummy nonsense. Yeah, I ain't it. I don't trust no one, right? That's how I work. Cause if you don't trust no one, you can't. No one can let you down. So leave me alone. Go on, Scapper. I hadn't noticed until now, but it's unmistakable. Right there on both sleeves of the overcoat are some very suspicious red stains. What? Why are you looking at me like that? I think it might be worth presenting some of our other findings in that area to Gina now. Let's see here. Do you see this pawnbroker's ticket, Gina? It's the one you took to Winniebank's, isn't it? The one for that black overcoat that you're wearing now? They're gone! The bloodstains are gone! Eh? What that? I don't know. They all look the same to me, those tickets. Surely not. Well, this one has a very obvious mark on it that would appear to be blood. Eh? Does that ring any bells? I don't know. It all looks the same to me. Blood. And they all sound the same to me, these answers. Suspicious. Those stains on the sleeves of your new coat, Gina. They're blood, aren't they? Not that I know whose blood yet. What? But blood, Mr. Naruhodo? You don't appear to have any obvious wounds yourself, though. So it could be blood that spattered from Mr. Winniebank when he was shot last night. Let's not beat around the bush here. This trusty friend of mine will get results much faster than anything else. Take it easy, Iris. Don't move, Jeannie. I'm going to shoot. And that's the end of the episode, ladies and gentlemen. Purple. Wait a minute. Hold on. Is that supposed to be purple or... No, that's definitely purple. Let me just... No, that's purple. Oh my! What the... Forget the sleeves. The whole coat is covered in blood. Of course. The black color of the fabric was masking the stains. That's why we haven't seen them until now. And the blood has reacted with the chemical to turn a purple color, which matches one of the samples we've already collected perfectly. Damn it, I opened the court record. Yes, now let's see. Who had the purple blood? Aha! Yes, it was the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, the victim of the murder case 2 years ago, 2 months ago. I knew it. What? What are you all on about? The victim? What do you mean? It's a rather uncomfortable situation, Mr. Naruhodo, but I think this makes things quite clear. It means the omnibus case is finally solved. The truth about who really murdered the brickmaker, Mr. Mason, is revealed. Oi! Would someone explain what's going on? Stop telling half a story! McGilded killed Mason and had Gina hide the evidence. The truth of the omnibus case. We can see now that the victim's blood is all over Mr. McGillard's overcoat. But in the trial 2 months ago, the defendant said this in his testimony. Now I ask you, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. But if you look at this overcoat now, it's clear. These stains couldn't have arisen from McGilded trying to pull the victim to his feet. No. If that was what had really happened, the blood wouldn't have splashed all over the front of the coat. The only explanation for this pattern of blood is that it splattered over McGilded's coat when he stabbed the victim in the stomach. I've tried to run from the truth for long enough, but there's no escaping it now. The true culprit in that case, Mr. Mason's killer, Magnus McGilded. We defended the guilty party, Mr. Naruhodo. That horrible case is solved at last, and I helped the man walk free from that trial. I used all that twisted testimony and all of that sham evidence to prove his innocence. How could I have let that happen? Oh no, did you believe him though? Did you believe Mr. McGilded was innocent? I believed. Or rather, I think I was trying to believe. I wanted to. Because believing in those you represent in court is a defense lawyer's greatest weapon. A weapon? Before we came to Great Britain, a great friend of mine taught me a valuable lesson. You mean Kazuma-sama? Listen, Ryunosuke. We lawyers are only human. We can't know for sure what is the truth and what is a lie, which is why we must resort to our primary weapon. An unwavering belief in our clients. That is all we really have. Unwavering belief? Only when we truly believe what our clients tell us can we fight with everything we have for their cause. In any battle, there can be no victory without faith. So I believe you, unwaveringly. What's funny, Gina? You sounds like the senpai of Japan you come from. Everyone must be soft. Oh, come on! Look at the mess you got into, believing that bog trotter. Yes, I inadvertently helped a murderer walk free. Well, at least you've learned your lesson now, eh? Believing in people's never worth it. Someone always stabs you in the back in the end. Soon as you let your guard down, you've had it. Take a leaf out of my book. Believe no one. Get hurt by no one. Gina, may I ask you something? What? I'd just like to make absolutely sure. What would you like us to do with these representation papers for tomorrow's trial? How many times do I have to say it? Rip them up and chuck them away. Are you really sure that's what you want? I bet that's what he wants and all now. Mr. I'm a believer lawyer over there. Don't forget it was me in that trial 2 months ago. I led everyone up the garden path, didn't I? And you're telling me you can believe in me after that? Not likely. Well, Mr. Naruhodo, a lawyer's primary weapon is an unwavering belief in his clients. Ultimately, it comes down to whether or not I feel I can trust Gina after everything that's happened. I trust her. Gina, let me say it again. Please allow me to represent you in tomorrow's trial. Eh? Are you half-baked? Not at all. You've not once admitted to committing the crime, have you? What's more, I believe that you're telling me the truth. Seriously? Mr. Naruhodo? Didn't you hear all of what I said before? I'm a born liar, fibs just trip off me tongue. And I'm a diva, don't forget. I pulled the wool over your eyes 2 months ago and got you in all sorts of trouble. Why would you ever trust me now? I just don't get it. Gina, I do understand why you choose not to put your trust in others. But I assure you, there is more to this life than you yet realize. What do you mean? The world we live in is full of people you would do very well to trust. People who won't ever let you down. It's true that I'm just a student of law, and I'm certainly lacking in courtroom experience. But I can promise you this. Whatever happens, and until my very last breath, I am completely on your side. What? What do you expect me to say to that? Aw. Then it's decided. I will take these papers now and carry out the necessary preparations for tomorrow's trial. It would be a shame to throw them away now it's after been penned with your name so beautifully. Do what you like. You Eastern lot are, I don't know what you are. I don't get you. Gina's taken herself off to the back of her cell. She'd never admit it, but I hope she's feeling relieved. That turned out alright in the end, I think. Whoever's hiding there, show yourself at once! Eavesdropping is the height of cowardice. Miss Susato? Somebody is there in the shadows. I can sense it. Someone who wasn't there before. What? Blimey, you're sharp, eh? I suppose you were using one of those Mr. Japanese arts, like the art of stealth I've heard so much about. If anyone was being stealthy, it was you, Inspector. Gregsy! Oh, dearie me! I'm most terribly sorry, your ladyship. I didn't mean to startle you. How long have you been listening in on our conversation? Good grief! Listening in? No. I just got word that there were some visitors who were refusing to leave even though it was after hours. I assure you, your ladyship, I only just arrived. This very minute, not a moment earlier. That is all. Nothing untoward. Nothing at all. After hours? Is it that late already? So then, I'll humbly excuse myself now, your ladyship. Ta-ta, toodaloo, cheerio, all the best, bye-bye! And that's a lot of farewells, and not one of them appropriate for her ladyship. Oh, but I wanted to have a chat. I'm terribly sorry, but time is pressing at the minute. Oh, I see. That's a shame. If I don't get this emergency at the Supreme Court dealt with sharpish, Lord Strongheart will, well... Emergency? Lord Strongheart? Nothing! Forget I said anything! Anyway, I'm off! Alright, Grexy, if you have to, but let's chat soon. Delighted! Charmed! Can't wait! If you please! My pleasure! That's a lot of pleasantries, and not one of them sounded sincere. One second. Sorry about that. Grixie's so funny. He says such silly things. Why do you keep bringing up the court record? It's certainly entertaining to see an inspector of the police fawning to a 10-year-old girl. But anyway, I wonder what this emergency is at the Supreme Court. I must attend to the court's clerk office now before it closes. Yes, of course. Thank you, Mr. Sato. Kindly escort Iris home now, Mr. Naruhodo. I shall meet you there later. And so our investigation came to an end. Susato-san went to file the necessary papers for my defense of Gina the following day. And then it hit me. I could no longer suppress the wretched feeling that had been gnawing away at my insides. Tomorrow, Susato-san would be leaving Britain and making her way back to Japan. "16th April, 11:13 p.m. Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Naruhodo-san, it's been a very trying day, hasn't it? I do hope you're not too exhausted. What about you, Susato-san? Today's been even more trying for you, I'm sure. Mr. Sholmes was shot before our eyes, Gina was arrested, all on the back of the news that her father has fallen ill and that she must return to Japan at once. I hope your father recovers soon. Thank you for your kind words. I wonder why it is that so many thoughts rage in my head like a storm, and yet I seem unable to find the words to express any of them. I know exactly what you mean. Anyway, I have one final task to complete as your judicial assistant. Once that is done, I shall make preparations for departure tomorrow. One final task? Going back to Japan. It's just 2 months since we arrived in London, but we've managed to establish this office. It was finally feeling as though we were settling in. I would be lying if I said I felt no regret. I'm so sorry, Susato-san. It's just so sudden. I really don't know what to think. I've had no time to gather my thoughts. I know we've only been here a short time, but in my limited experience of the courtroom, I feel I've learned something. And what would that be? It seems to me there are many facets to people's personalities. Facets? And like a jewel, the light plays off them in complex patterns, illuminating their actions and their motives. But we only see a small number of total facets, and what is illuminated is only a part of the whole story. What lies in the shadows? What do those facts we cannot see look like? Perhaps there are some parts we'll never lay eyes on for as long as we live. That's so true. Sometimes I feel as though I'm blind to so much, but I keep hoping that one day it'll all become clear. That all the facets will be illuminated and I'll finally understand how everything fits together. Naruhodo-san, I suppose what matters is that I bring up the court record. Is that we keep our eyes open and keep moving forward, even if the way sometimes seems dark. It's amazing to think it's been just 2 months. You've grown so much. Sorry? I've what? Oh no, it was nothing. Unimportant. Tomorrow's departure. Do you know what time you will leave London in the morning? Yes, I picked up my ticket earlier. I shall be leaving here at 4 a.m. 4 a.m. Oh! I see. Well, I'll escort you to the station. Absolutely not. Sorry? I'm sure you realize why I couldn't possibly let you do that. You have a very important day ahead of you tomorrow. Gina's trial. Yes, I know, but every word you utter will have the potential to determine Gina's fate. You must get as much rest as possible, even though, like me, I'm sure you will find it hard to sleep. But please, for me, do try. One final task. You mentioned one final task a moment ago. What did you mean? Oh my! I nearly forgot! Please, I want you to have this. What is that? Some huge bundle of documents? I think it's the book she's always looking in for advice. It's my notes from the case 2 months ago. Oh, that works too. The murder was committed on the omnibus. The McGildy case. It seems to me that this case of Mr. Windibank's murder, of which Gina is accused, is very much tied up with that omnibus case, in ways that are not yet completely apparent. So I took the liberty of consolidating my writings about the case for you. With everything else she's had to think about, Susato-san still managed to do this, and all neatly laid out for me with her beautiful handwriting. It was my pleasure. I can only hope that it will bolster your case tomorrow for Gina. Thank you so much, Susato-san. I will do my best to use it wisely. You really are the best judicial assistant in the world. Well, that's extremely flattering. But I'm sorry to say that I've been a complete failure. Sorry? I didn't quite catch that, what you said there. Oh! Ignore me. I was just mumbling to myself. The McGilly case notes have been entered into the court record. Well, it's getting rather late. I think you should go to bed now, Naruhodo-san. I must finish packing up my things in my room. Susato-san, I wish you the very best of luck tomorrow. Good night. Wait! There's something I need to say. Ow! What was that? A secret technique of mine. The Susato shutdown. Shutdown? Please, I implore you. If we have to voice our goodbyes, I won't be able to hold back my tears. I can't do a crying voice. I can't. Susato-san. It truly had been a trying day. On our feet for hours, getting Gina to open up to us, and learning the truth about that nemesis of a case. Physically and mentally, I was exhausted, and yet the idea of sleep seemed impossible. But I forced myself to close my eyes. And as a cacophony of scenes of our lives here in London played through my mind, eventually, my fatigue triumphed, and I fell into a deep sleep. '17th April. The Small Hours St. Signers Hospital. Sinners? Whatever. I'm going to say Signers. Yes, I quite understand. That is a great weight off my mind. Excuse me. Hey, Sholmes! Rest assured I shall put everything in place exactly as we have discussed. Thank you so much. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be acquainted with you, Mr. Sholmes. On the contrary, the pleasure has been mine. I bid you farewell, and Godspeed. My dear madame. To be continued. Well, all of that was sad. Very sad. This game really does know how to tug on the heartstrings. I'm going to say that much. But, in the next Great Ace Attorney stream, we will be finally defending Gina in court. And, let's see if we can get her off the hook. That stream will be happening next week at 7 o'clock, assuming everything goes well with what I have to do before the streams. But between now and then, on Saturday at 2 p.m., we will be playing Mass Effect 3 Legendary Edition. The Reapers have arrived, and it's up to us to do something to survive. Anyway, until then, I will see you guys later. I'll see you guys then.